I call the regular board meeting of the Ligonier Valley School District on September 15th, 2025 to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, our roll call, please.
Ms. Bennett? Mrs. Boyd?
Present.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Gamble?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mrs. Hutchinson? Here. Mr. Nutt?
Here.
Mrs. Cromwell?
Here.
Mr. Stepp? Here. 9 present.
Mr. Solicitor, can I have, or no, actually, Mr. Secretary, can I have a executive session report for all sessions that were held between our last announced meeting?
Yes. Okay. There was executive session held September 3rd, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 10:50 in the morning regarding personnel, reviewing of the superintendent's resumes, Act 93 position, and contracts regarding the transportation MOU. There was another executive session held September 8th, 2025, from 3:01 to 4:09 p.m. regarding personnel superintendent, regarding the Act 93 position and security. And there was one this evening from 5:50 p.m. to 5:55 p.m. regarding superintendent interviews, professional long-term sub position, 2 supplementals, and 1 professional employee, and also security.
Can you check the time on tonight's? What did you say? Because you said 5:50 to 5:55.
5:15 to 5:55.
Oh,
I apologize.
My bad.
Okay, I have it written down
I know,
right.
just like, that was short. I was there longer.
Thank you for that report. Are there any motions that need amended or added to tonight's agenda? Okay, I would like to mention that I will be making a request to continue motion E3525 due to a potential misprint or miscommunication on the letter that's supposed to be sent home to parents. I think that's going to require Dr. D and Mr. Zahorchak to look at a little more carefully because the link that is on the paper does not work. Or is that correct, Ms. Brown? Something, the link isn't.
It's not as easy. It's not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we need to tweak it.
just be aware when we get to educational programs, I will be asking for that motion to be tabled at that time. Public comments for the agenda items. We have 3 public comments. Kim Dickert-Wallace, would you come forward, please?
Mr. President, I think we need to act on the minutes first, and then we'll go to that. That was for the public comments on any amendments of
Oh,
the
I'm
agenda.
sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
I'm
right.
sorry.
Sorry about
Give me
that.
just a minute. Under old business, I'm asking for a motion to approve the minutes of the August 18th Committee of the Whole meeting and the August 18th, 2025 regular board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Having motions and a second, I hereby ask all those in favor to indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The minutes carry. Are there any follow-ups on previous agendas from any of the board members? Under new business, hearing of citizens, there's a discussion regarding S20.
So I have a packet here I will leave in that packet. In this packet is, I'm speaking about Brian Blasco. The first page you will see is what he put out to the public about requesting people come and speak about him. The second piece is a 6+ page email that was sent to my daughter that I will address in a moment. And the third is a copy of my remarks. So I have one for each of you. But good evening, members of the board. I'm here tonight both as a parent and a student advocate to share my family's experience over 2 years with the class committee under the advisement of Mr. Blasco.
If you wouldn't mind not to mention any employee's name, title's fine. Thank you.
Sure. Both my daughters, Ruby and Clara, served on this committee. Ruby was a member in the year 2021 to 2022, and Clara was the class president the following year. In the 21-22 school year, the employee's first year as a class advisor, there were significant changes to the school schedule which limited the time for students to meet for various clubs. These changes made it already demanding task of planning a prom even more challenging. While all clubs were affected, the junior class committee felt this especially, as planning prom requires consistent time and collaboration. In late fall of 2021, Ruby began sharing concerns about the disrespectful comments and behaviors of the employee towards the committee. My husband and I trust our daughters to handle the situation responsibly, offering her guidance only as a sounding board. But on January 7th, 2022, Ruby received an email, which you will have a copy of, from the employee that left her very distraught. When I read the email and I was shared with that evening, that I'm sharing with you that evening, I was troubled by the tone and several of the comments that I believe were wholly inappropriate and disrespectful for an adult advisor to direct students as he was supposed to be mentoring. I brought this email to the attention of the administration, and I met with then Assistant Principal, Mr. Marabito, shared the email with him directly. He acknowledged my concerns and told me only that it would be shared with the principals and the administrations, and check-ins would be done at the meetings. From Ruby's perspective, little changed. The remainder of the year was overshadowed by negativity and criticism by the teacher, who repeatedly told the students that they were not doing enough. The following year, our other daughter, Clara, as class president, again worked under the employee. Early in the year, she began sharing some of the same concerns her sister had experienced. He was dismissing the students' ideas, spoke disrespectfully, and failed to provide appropriate guidance. Clara, at one point, spent an entire Saturday arranging the details for a potential venue, timing the bus routes, and preparing a detailed presentation for the committee. When she shared her work, the mentioned teacher refused to even look at the presentation. Instead, he stared at the wall and then finished and told her that the idea was terrible and claimed that the venue, which he had visited, was old and smelled like old people.
Kim, 2 more minutes, please.
This pattern continued throughout the year, and at Grand March, he introduced Clara to the audience and then criticized her work publicly, even though that it was his own delay that prevented her from getting the materials. I must also raise the concern of practicing bringing his family, including children, to the prom while being an advisor. Were they cleared in attendance? This raises a question of policy and liability. In both years, instead of encouraging students' leadership, creativity, and independence, this person consistently undermines their effort with negativity, dismissiveness, and disrespect. My daughters and their peers deserve mentorship with guidance. Instead, they were belittled and discouraged. This is stated for people who serve as advisors, administration, and school board members. I'm asking this board to take these concerns seriously and to ensure that advisors and teachers entrust with mentoring our students do it with respect, professionalism, and encouragement. Each student deserves an adult to uplift them, not tear them down. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Dr. DiArcangelo would like to make a couple comments regarding what you just brought up.
What I discovered in the school district, we have wonderful students and teachers in the support community. And what I've been discovering over the last 6 months is we don't have a lot of systems, and I tease with the board, it's kind of like an archaeological dig. The more you dig, the more you discover. So what I discovered are all supplemental positions, and I'm not going to just focus on one, all the supplemental positions. Discovered there are no job descriptions, no evaluation process, Each of those positions are only a one-year position, and people have to reapply.
Right.
So I have on my desk right now, and I gave to the board an outline of the direction they should go in the future, which was to establish job descriptions, and we already started on those. I have a copy of some information I've received from the Hempfield School District regarding the packets they give out. Whenever someone takes a supplemental position, it has outlined expectations. They have to document the minutes from the meetings, how many students were there, what occurred, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and an evaluation form. So moving forward, I won't be here to see it in place, but I built the foundation for it, and I'm very, very excited about it because it needs to be done. So if you see, some of the advisors have changed, because if we have concerns, we open the position up and see if we have other people who qualify, and we award it to the most qualified person. We talk to the administration, high school principals, myself, Justin, who is a director of special education, and we want to make sure the right people are in the right positions. Is it perfect? And no. Can it be better? You're darn right it could be better. We just want to do what the best school districts do, and that's what we're trying to do. You'll see tonight during my superintendent's report, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've put in place, and I'm going to end tonight by talking about the superintendent search. But thank you for sharing your concerns. And my door is always open anytime you want to talk.
Thank you.
Mr. Wallace?
Good evening, I'm Patrick Wallace, and I too am here tonight to express concern as to the experience we've had with the supplemental arrangements that are specifically involving the youth and government advisor. I'd like to focus specifically on the steps as we as parents took to address these issues and the responses received from the administration. In early November 2022, almost a year after the administration was contacted about this individual's disrespectful administration of this particular supplemental program, my wife had reached out directly to them for better understanding and perspective to open up a dialogue about the interactions with our daughter. Instead of engaging in conversation, this particular individual was very combative and abruptly hung up on her. Following that phone call, my wife reached out to the principal of the school, and they met that afternoon in her office. And in that meeting, she was told that there was little that could be done because this individual was doing a very hard job and that planning a prom was difficult. My wife requested to attend a committee meeting so she could observe these issues firsthand. She was told she would not be permitted to do so. Despite these efforts, the problems continued. By January of that year, after more reports of disrespectful behavior, my wife requested a meeting with the superintendent, the principal, and the teacher. She was told there would not be such a meeting, and that matter was being handled solely by the principal. When our daughter Clara was again disrespected by this individual in front of her peers, my wife was once again requesting a meeting, this time with me present. Finally, that request was granted, and 4 of us sat down with the teacher and a union representative. In that meeting, we outlined our concerns about the pattern of dismissiveness, disrespect, and lack of mentorship for Clara and her classmates. We expected to hear a willingness to reflect and to work together to improve the situation for the students. Instead, what we experienced was defensiveness and no response from the administration. At no point did we feel that the teacher took responsibility for his behavior, nor did we feel that our concerns as parents were genuinely heard or taken seriously. I share this with you tonight not because prom planning is easy, it isn't, but because the way an adult advisor interacts with students matters even more than the event itself. These committees are supposed to be an opportunity for young people to learn leadership, problem solving, collaboration. Instead, what our daughters experienced was being dismissed, criticized, and belittled by the very person tasked with supporting them. The fact that repeated requests for dialogue and resolution were brushed aside until the situation reached a breaking point is also deeply concerning. Parents should not have to fight this hard to have their children treated with basic respect by an adult in leadership positions. We ask that this board take seriously not only the pattern of behavior, but also the lack of meaningful administrative response until significant pressure has been applied. Our students deserve better, and it is our responsibility as adults to ensure that they are mentored professionally, respectfully, and with encouragement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I think we get to our alumni group, right? I have Bella, Emma, Megan,
Hi, my name is Bella Palmer, and I'm a Ligonier Valley High School graduate from the class of 2025. I'm writing to express my strong support for the advisor that was in charge of the junior class committee and the youth and government program, whose character, passion, and work ethic make him a standout teacher at Ligonier Valley. To give more background on myself, while in high school, I was part of many clubs, including FBLA, Spanish National Honor Society, National Honor Society, soccer, and track and field. I was also involved in the class cabinet my freshman, junior, and senior year, serving as the class president my senior year. My junior year is when I worked with Mr. Blasco the most. I took advanced placement U.S. government with him, and as I said, I was a part of the junior class committee. I'd first like to focus on my experience with him as my advanced placement U.S. government teacher. He would go above and beyond for our class to learn in the best ways possible. He spent the time adding a plethora of resources to our Schoology page that would prepare us for the AP exam, brought in several public speakers such as lawyers, and took us to an event at IUP called Senator for a Day. All this work he put in really helped all of us expand our knowledge on the U.S. government and did far more than just sitting there and doing the same boring things every day ever would. To be frank, Mr. Blasco is one of the hardest working teachers that I have had in terms of actually wanting us to learn. His great teaching is evident when I passed the AP Gov exam without studying, which is known to be a difficult exam. I retained everything he taught us better than I would in other classes. In other words, nothing he does is with minimal effort. Before I start talking about him as a supervisor for the junior class committee, I would like to note that I did watch the board meeting on April 21st, 2025, where some of the junior class committee brought up their grievances and will be touching on those some. As the junior class committee supervisor, I attended almost all of the meetings, if not all, as a treasurer. He was very organized and made sure he heard us all out about our ideas. He made as many of the ideas happen as he could. The argument made from last year's junior class committee that he didn't hear them out is bizarre to me because he didn't give us that treatment whatsoever. I believe this argument could be because some of their ideas were unrealistic, or it could be due to the lack of their help. On many occasions my senior year, he would reach out to me and some of my friends to help sell cookies because the junior class committee was not doing their part. I would also like to add that their complaints of not having Grand March isn't just because he was ruining prom. It is the amount of disinterest. When we planned prom my junior year, we were begging people to do Grand March, and even last year there was not a lot of participants. At the end of the day, as a supervisor, he had to decide whether or not Grand March was a waste of money. As a treasurer, I would like to make it very clear that Mr. Blasco has never been shady, unorganized, or secretive with the money or budget. Any transaction he made or what money we had, he would discuss and make sure.
Can you just not try to reference the teacher's name?
Yeah, sorry. Any transaction he made or what money we had, he would discuss and make sure it was approved by multiple officers. If I ever in the slightest thought there was something wrong with the money, I would have spoken out. Finally, the argument that he didn't put any effort in is ridiculous because he was always networking and making sure our prom was the way we wanted it my junior year. Without his work, prom wouldn't have gotten done. Also, I would like to note that I attended both my junior and senior year, and they were wonderful events, and his hard work showed off. Now, I'd like to speak on his character. He's one of those teachers that truly cares about his students. Anytime I was going through anything, he would generally check in on me, and I would see him do the same for my fellow classmates. Felt comfortable to share with him anything I felt upset or concerned about. One example that showed how much he cares for his students was when my sister and I were rear-ended by a school bus from our school district. Even though I'm still alive and didn't have any life-altering injuries, it was still a traumatic event and took us both some time to get over it. He was one of the few teachers who I felt like actually understood the multitude of the situation. He would check in on us, give us guidance if we did want to take legal action, and most importantly, he would listen to us vent about our frustrations with the way it was handled. That meant the world to my sister and I because to us it felt very brushed under the rug. In fact, one of my teachers 2 days after the car accident told me I was, quote, taking advantage of a situation and putting my classmates at a disadvantage when I asked for a few-day extension on a final while I was in fact suffering a pretty severe concussion. I would like you to keep that in mind when you want to question how he speaks to students when I was spoken to like that by another teacher, and I did bring it up to our assistant principal and nothing was done. Even during my senior year, after I no longer had him as a teacher or supervisor, he would check in on me and ask what new things were going on in my life. Caring for your students the way he does is incredibly important because no student wants to attend a class where they don't feel comfortable or like they have support from their teacher. If I had any doubts in who he is as a person and the way he treats his students, I wouldn't have taken the time to write this letter, drive an hour to read this letter, and watch the school board meeting from April while being in college. Last thing I would like to talk about is the way I've seen him treated. It is simply disgusting. I've heard multiple teachers trash and degrade him, along with students. More specifically,
How much longer do you think you'll be?
We have 5 minutes.
my last part's quick. It'll be quick.
Very quickly, thank you.
Okay. I've heard the way the students that shared during the meeting in April talk about him, and it is flat out mean. Coming up to fellow classmates, laughing about what they're doing, and talking poorly about him is unrelated to the issues, making me question their motives for why they have brought these accusations up. No disrespect to them, but I believe these accusations stem from hate, not facts, and the thrill and power trip of ruining his reputation and career rather than making a positive change in Ligonier Valley School District. He is simply a punching bag because he is not the type of man to snap, so it's easy for these individuals to hurl insults at not only him but his family. It is flat out bullying. If you really want to evaluate an issue within the school district, look at the way you let him get treated. And then I have a letter from my sister that I'll leave in support of him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Emma, Megan, you have comments as well?
Are we allowed to read? We have letters. Mine's quick. Are we able to? Okay.
One of you sent a letter to me. I already gave it out. Is one of you that sent the letter to me?
It was my sister's.
Gab's, okay. Your sister's, okay.
She goes to Allegheny. She cannot
And
be
they have a
here tonight.
copy of the letter.
Okay. Each of you can speak. There's just a 5-minute limit for the total time.
This is under 5 minutes.
So,
All right.
go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. D and members of the LVSD School Board. My name is Emma Zeglin, and I'm here before you tonight to discuss my former teacher and prom advisor. I'm a recent graduate of Ligonier Valley High School, and I'm a freshman at St. Vincent College. There, I'm a member of the Honors College, and I was just recently elected as freshman class president. During my time at LVHS, I was honored to serve as both sophomore and junior class president, as well as being involved in many school activities. In your duty to the school board, you may have heard about me being upcoming Leader of the Year, Teen of the Year, or any of my involvement with the Ligonier Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm proud of the education and opportunities I received at LVHS, which makes this letter deeply important to me. In the 2023-2024 academic year, I served as junior class president, working directly with our advisor to plan prom. From the beginning, I found him to be collaborative, supportive, and committed to ensuring that students' voices were heard. Every idea we brought forward was implemented. We brought forward as a committee. It was listened to, discussed, and either implemented or improved with his guidance. He never imposed decisions on us. Instead, he provided structure, advice, and encouragement while allowing us students to lead. I personally can say that all of my ideas I brought forth were heard. He loved them. He encouraged me to find new avenues for fundraising. I worked really hard to encourage all my other students to be a part of the committee, many of which I hope will come forward and speak. But our efforts that year resulted in a successful, well-loved prom, not just by students, but the teachers who were chaperones. They said it was amazing, it was well-planned, and I credit much of that success to Mr. Blasco. This stands in direct contrast to recent accusations that Mr. Blasco failed to listen to students. Sorry. They said that he failed to listen to them and overrode their voices on the prom committee. Based on my firsthand experience as junior class president, I can say these accusations do not reflect the reality of how he worked with us. He treated us with respect, valued our perspectives, and consistently elevated our ideas. My experience with this teacher extended beyond prom committee. I was also his AP government student and a participant in youth government. He went above and beyond to provide opportunities that enriched our education, from extra credit projects to conferences such as Senator for a Day. I also worked with him as a volunteer on multiple occasions. He is an excellent teacher and advisor, but also I know him as a person of integrity and care. I hold him in the highest regard, both professionally and personally. It saddens me deeply to learn that his positions were taken away because of accusations that do not match the truth of my experience, nor the experience of my peers. The absence of his leadership is already being felt. I have a younger sister who's a junior this year. From the get-go, from the first day of school, she wanted to run for junior class president. And she told me there was nothing that existed. And I understand that there's another teacher who's up for the position, but he's also in charge of the senior class. They both have extreme, their roles go from 0 to 100 at the end of the school year. I do not feel like that other teacher who's up for the position could do that to the best of his ability. And again, I'm not only defending my experience, but I want the best, obviously, for my sister, for all the other students. I want them to have such a great experience planning prom as I did. They all deserve to benefit from the same supportive and enriching environment that I had under this teacher's guidance. I respectfully urge the board to reconsider the decision regarding this past prom advisor. One set of negative claims should not outweigh the many positive and truthful accounts of his dedication, fairness, and care for students. Restoring him to his roles would not only correct an injustice, but also ensure that future students continue to benefit from his mentorship and commitment to their success. Thank you for your time, your service to the school community, and your careful consideration of this matter.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Megan Boddicker, and I'm a 2025 Ligonier Valley High School graduate. In my years spent at Ligonier Valley, I was often geared towards the extracurriculars offered at EWCTC. This was due to the inflexibility of my daily vocational schedule. Although I may be considered less involved in the clubs and committees offered at LVHS, I was an active member in both the Interact Club as well as the Junior Class Committee. I had an interest in participating and becoming a member of the junior class ever since my freshman year of high school, but I was concerned I may be unable to participate due to my schedule. At the end of my sophomore year, I had expressed these concerns to the junior class advisor. The advisor had assured me he was willing and able to work with my schedule and fulfill my desire to become an active member despite this roadblock. Due to my attendance at EWCTC, I had little to no time throughout my schedule in my junior year to be present at the meetings held by the junior class. The advisor made a great effort to keep me up to date on the current goals and expectations of the committee. He would send me informational emails, and I would stop by his classroom at my convenience to ask questions and inform him on my efforts being made throughout the time. If I took anything with me from my classes with the junior class advisor, it would easily be one of his famous quotes. "It's not what you know, it's who you know." This quote has stuck by me throughout my life, not only in high school, but beyond it as well. And today my presentation is strongly emphasizing this quote and the importance of connections. If I did not believe the advisor of the junior class was a dedicated, compassionate, and inspirational educator, I would not be standing here today. I once more would like to apply this quote to today's presentation, to defend his character in response to a previous school board meeting where false claims and accusations were made against him. I am bringing this information before you today due to my recent knowledge of the information presented on the school board meeting that took place on April 21st of 2025. At this meeting, the 2024 to 25 junior class officers came forward making false claims against their advisor. I would like to object these false accusations made by the students. There were multiple claims made during this meeting, such as the advisor did not listen to the voices of the students and that he withheld information about the prom planning budget. However, what I took from the citizens' input portion of this meeting was a group of biased teenagers who did not seem to get their way. I understand prom is an exciting major event for the upperclassmen, but with this reward of planning comes a great deal of work and responsibility. To raise money for the Ligonier Valley prom, the advisor arranges cookie sales through the school year. The members of the junior class are responsible for this fundraising activity to appropriately plan for the cost of prom. Several times throughout my senior year of high school, I heard the advisor asking around for an extra hand for the junior class cookie sales. I always enjoyed working with the advisor in class and during my time on the committee, so naturally I offered a helping hand. When I stopped by his classroom, he had informed me the cookie sales had been running so poorly that year due to the committee members refusing to sell them. When I first received this news, I knew I wanted to help the advisor and ensure our 2025 school year prom could be planned accordingly. I spent many months of my senior year picking up slack coming from our junior class committee. Each cookie sale, I would sell between 3 and 5 containers of cookies. Meanwhile, it was only asked of the juniors to sell just one. Without the aid of the students collecting the appropriate income for the cost of prom, it's difficult to determine the final budget in a timely manner. I strongly believe that it is unfair and unjust of students to falsely accuse the advisor of not taking his leadership position seriously when he was carrying the weight of the committee on his own. Dr. D, I understand that this is not a question and answer engagement, but may I ask if you have recently received any other emails on behalf of the advisor? And if so, have they been shared with the board?
I share everything with the board. Yes, they have copies of everything ever sent to me.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Ladies, thank you very much for all of your comments. And I would also like to say that I'm very proud of the composure in which you ladies held. It's obvious that all of you have a very bright future ahead of you. Mr. Secretary, is there any correspondence or announcements?
Yes, I have two for this evening. The first one, I received an email last week from the township manager, and it was to update on the bridge and sidewalk project behind the high school. They did apply and receive additional funds, another $588,000, along with the $587,000 they received before. So it takes a little bit over almost $1.2 million. The overall project has increased in price since then, but they still have other grants out there, and they still look moving forward to have this project done. So I think it was just a good update to the board, and I'll keep the board posted as more information comes in.
Thank you.
And the second correspondence received from Bolivar Borough, I was approached by their borough if I would act as their representative for the Westmoreland County Tax Commission representative. I'm currently the school board member, the school representative at those meetings, and I said I would bring along to the board. And if you are willing, they agreed that they would allow me to be the representative. Usually we have one meeting a year, and I am able to attend them. So they would follow the same vote that the school district would follow. So I don't see any problem with that at all.
Pending any input from our solicitor, is there anyone on the board objecting to Mr. Koshis being that representative? I don't believe that requires a vote.
It would not of this board, and as long as his involvement with the borough does not put a conflict in place with the school district, I see no problems with that.
Okay, I'll reach out to the representative of the Westmoreland County Tax Collection Committee, and let them know that I will be the representative for the borough then. Thank you.
Mr. Solicitor,
No,
your report?
Superintendent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Dr. D, it's your report.
Good evening. Since March, I've been working with the school administration and the board of directors to make recommendations and changes that are fiscally responsible, but more importantly, educationally sound. I thought I was going to be here for 90 days, and 6 months later, I'm still here. Those changes included an elimination of a teaching position from a retirement, a position that was not needed because when we looked at our class size, the class size was optimal, so we were able to save money. We also eliminated the dean of students position, but we took that person who was math certified and moved her into a position as a math coach. We did that because when I did some research early on, and I mentioned this at the April board meeting, that out of the 17 school districts in Pennsylvania, we should be in the top quadrant in our academics and our test scores. And we need to address that, and we need to get better, and we can't get better. So we made that move and moved somebody who was a dean of students into a math coaching position. At the same time, we moved a technology integration teacher who we believe is very talented and had a lot of capability and a lot of capacity in the schedule, moved him to an assistant middle school principal, so we have stability on top of the hill between the middle school and R.K. Mellon, where we now have 3 administrators. We think that was a great move because he loves our school district, lives in our school district, and will be here permanently. We then moved on and we hired a gentleman by the name of Bubba Fatula, because we felt like we could take our next steps with safety. And he's a safety consultant that works for over 30 schools in the area in Pennsylvania. And we began training with our students and staff, and if you get a chance, you need to ask our students and staff about the training because he's dynamic. We also started a monthly emergency management meeting with many different people that make up that committee, because we believe school safety must be a priority. Tonight, we're hiring an additional security guard to cover the middle school. We're also setting up interviews for another security guard that would be at RK Mellon. We believe we need to have one security guard in each building. And as I sat through the cafeteria presentations, I hope the same people that are passionate about food are passionate about security. And between now and the month of May, when the board adopts a budget, that's when a discussion needs to be held. If you want more people in the cafeteria, more food, more security guards, you need to convince the new superintendent and the 9 board members to pay for those things. They don't come free. Tonight, I'm very excited too, because as we set up our administrative team to build security, we're hiring a very talented young lady as a director of special education. Her name's Jennifer Kapusta, and I believe she's in the audience today, and we're happy about that. She comes from a neighboring school district. She has a doctorate in curriculum instruction, a letter of eligibility. She's a principal in another school district, and she believes she will be a great addition to this administrative team. By doing that, we can then take our current director of special education, Justin Zawarchak, and move him into a position of director of education, where he can focus on academics, our data teams, which is one of our goals that we now establish for our principals, establishing walkthroughs with our building principals to get into classrooms to try to make a difference with our academics to move us up into that top quadrant in the county. He also can focus on grants. So we're putting together a team. We started in March, and the final piece of the team is to hire a superintendent of schools that will be here long term. We had 17 applicants for the position of superintendent. Last week, we interviewed 5. This week, we're going to interview the final 3. We hope to get it to the final 1, and we hope to make an announcement in the near future. Once we have a superintendent in place, then we're not sure how long that person will be held in a neighboring school district, but I made a commitment that I'm not just going to walk out the door, that when that time comes, I'm going to pass the torch to the new superintendent, because there's a lot of good things that have happened, and there's still a lot of good things that need to occur. So I wanted to give you an update, everything we've accomplished, and give you an update on our search for a new superintendent. Thank you. It's been my honor to serve you.
Mr. Solicitor?
Yes, I have no remarks for public session unless the board has any questions of me.
Regarding our superintendent, by the way, I did reach out to Dr. D and try to propose a contract to him, but he said that we would not be able to afford his wife. So,
A happy wife is a happy wife. So it's time to move
so
on.
he's off the table. Linda, do you have any report from LVEA?
I do.
Well, great.
No. Good evening. My name is Linda Kaup, and I am a learning support teacher at RK Mellon, and I've been there 41 years. So I love my job, can you tell? I am also the Ligonier Valley Education Association School Board Representative. And I don't think I've spoken for a very long time, but I'm here with news, good news about our school district to follow up on the good news of that Dr. D told. We have a new LVEA president, and his name is Dr. Daniel Crack. And he visited with each member of our union during the first week of school, and he's happy to share with the board that there is a general positive, optimistic feeling across the school district. And here is just a snapshot of some of the good things that are happening across our district. At the high school, Mrs. Apgar's ComLit 1 class is working on an AI social media and technology unit, and this would be the first time ever that this class has been developed. And it is a list of ethical and meaningful ways to use AI in the classroom and a list of ways not to use AI in the classroom. Through these class discussions, reading and writing assignments, students have been challenged to reflect on their own social media and technology usage. Mrs. Apgar reports that it has been an eye-opening experience for the students. One student even declared, "Wow, I want to pay more attention to life, not what's on my phone." In Mrs. Apgar's journalism class, the students began creating reels. These reels are news stories and important happenings at the high school. Student Aiden Mack has been appointed as social media manager and will work with Mr. Psycho to create and post weekly reels. Sergeant Major Oates was busy with ROTC cadets this summer, and they traveled to the Pocono Raceway and performed color guards for the NASCAR races, and the cadets got to meet the governor. He then traveled with the cadets to a leadership camp called Outdoor Odyssey. Finally, they traveled to Mid-Ohio to the sports car racetrack, where they performed color guards and had a photo op with Keanu Reeves. And that was exciting for the kids. Mrs. Trickett at the high school is proud to declare that music is coming alive again in all of our Ligonier Valley schools. The high school began music seminars in jazz band and percussion ensembles. She is also in the second year of team teaching with Mrs. Stolkovich, who's the music teacher at the elementary schools. And they're proud to announce that music lessons began in both of the elementary schools on the first week of school. And the numbers and the enthusiasm are growing. At the middle school, the music teacher, Ms. Grimm, reports that around 114 middle schoolers are involved in the performing musical arts, and that is about 43% of the school population involved. Mrs. Kenna, middle school teacher for ELA, spent many hours this summer as a student. She completed 4 courses at the intermediate unit this summer. Mrs. Stahl, middle school LEA teacher, had a busy summer showing her prize-winning Welsh Corgis. And 2 of her dogs were in shows across the country, and out of 140 top dogs, both of them were awarded top prizes at 2 of the shows. At Laurel Valley Elementary, Mrs. Carnes, the school counselor, is happy to announce that ROCK's 5th grade girls is it's a girls program, and it's in its 15th year. They started out being we were one of the first schools in Pennsylvania to be part of the program, and it started with a grant. ROCK's is now in 44 states in the country, and Mrs. Carnes is proud to lead this research-based program with 5th grade girls and appreciates your support in that. In addition, Mrs. Carnes has the gifted students at LVE, and in collaboration with the art and STEAM teachers, they are creating a scarecrow for the contest on the diamond this October. And at RK Mellon, my school, the 2nd grade teachers, Mrs. Baroni, Mrs. Mundorf, and Mrs. Stevenson, spent time last week learning about the heroes of Patriot Day in an age-appropriate lesson focusing on bravery, kindness, and unity. The students learned how firefighters, police officers, medical workers, and everyday people can help during very, very difficult times. They learned what it means to be a hero, helping them understand the importance of courage, compassion, and helping others. In addition, each student created a patriotic handprint, and they used it in a picture of the American flag with red, white, and blue. And they were given a chance to reflect on the importance of unity and the appreciation for those who serve their community. Then the 2nd grade teachers also the students are becoming real-world scientists. They are investigating how the slope of land affects the movement of water and objects. With the help of simple materials, water, marbles, and land all around the school, the students are predicting and observing the ways that land shapes how things move. namely water. These kinds of activities don't just teach science, they spark curiosity, build problem-solving skills, and help students see the world in a whole new way. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, so much.
I hope we hear more about things
Yes.
like that.
We expect a report next month, Linda.
Yes.
I believe we have a student advisor from the high school with us this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Connor Foz. I'm a high school senior here currently, and I have some more good news. So, Adeline Wachowski set a new school record in August for 18 holes of golf, shooting an 82 at the Penn State White course. Addie will also be competing in the Whippeal qualifier tomorrow at Donegal Highlands Golf Course. The boys' golf team won the section for the third time in 3 years. They also had 6 golfers competing in the Whippeal section qualifier today. The students are Tyler Jones, Owen Smith, Henrik Ellick, Rocco Harris, Brock McKenzie, and Hunter Izzo. The specialized education classroom has been partnering with Giant Eagle 2 afternoons a week. During these visits, 2 students practice real jobs, including stocking shelves and collecting carts. This partnership provides an incredible hands-on experience for our students. The Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art, SAMA, Artists and Residents, will soon begin planning and creating a series of murals in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding. These murals will be placed at various locations throughout the valley to commemorate this historic milestone. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report.
Let
Thank you
me
for having
just
me.
make one comment. The special education class going to Giant Eagle, I actually saw that. They were stocking the shelves. It was really great to see that.
Really? Nice.
They were doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Report from the EWCTC. I'll give a little start out on this one. Unfortunately, on September 6th, it rained. So only about 90 vehicles showed up for the car show out of the expected 400. But they still went on. They had some good food there. They had the kids were making stuff back in Chef's Kitchen. They had approximately 60 raffle baskets. I won 2 of them. Imagine I got a new motorcycle helmet and a golf pass. Other news at EWCTC is bad news. 2 of their 3 boilers are failing. And they are going to attempt to make a field repair to the boilers. Donnie over there, the maintenance supervisor, believes that he's going to be able to remove the tubes himself, resolder them, reinstall them, and put those back together. But his life expectancy for the remainder of those boilers is probably only 2 to 3 years. And as a partnering school with EWCTC, Eric's already down there smiling, we have to contribute to the repairs of some of the things over there at the building unless we are fortunate enough to maybe try to find a grant. So keep your ears and eyes open in case there are any grants that you happen to see out there in the real world involving repairs to HVAC type things, because the EWCTC will be needing that in the near future. Cindy, do you have anything else?
Yeah, so last month I told you to be prepared for a huge announcement this month. And I don't know, maybe this is just me, but we were able to, cosmetology has grown to the point where we hired a second full-time teacher, and we are now offering all 9th grade cosmetology students full-time in that shop, which is huge because they have to have 1,250 hours before they graduate. And for our school, it's really hard because we're down 3 days to begin with just because of our regular schedule, but then we have so many snow days, and you know that kind of makes it very hard for the Cosmo shop to get their hours. So this was a huge, huge win. to be able to get another full-time teacher and to be able to start the students in that shop in 9th grade instead of wait till 10th grade.
Some other news over at EWCTC, solicitor Mr. Matta is now the solicitor at EWCTC as well. So he obviously has some experience that will then tie over to Ligonier, and he recently got on with Derry as well.
Thank you.
So, and now we get to the wonderful news about the IU.
Go, Christy.
You guys all have positive news, and I don't have to follow that. On August 26th, I attended my first Westmoreland Intermediate Unit IU board meeting. Please note that this assignment is heavy duty, and it's not a duty that I'm taking lightly. We started the evening with an executive session that ran way over, where a personnel matter was discussed. Following the executive session, they held what they called an informative session, where the administrative team reviewed information regarding the parking lot issue at Clearview, which is the actual school. So everyone is aware the parking lot at Clearview has deteriorated and half the lot is now unusable, and they need an additional 56 parking spots for staff. The administration provided the board with a timeline of issues and how they settled them. The problem is that they signed contracts and proceeded with a resolution plan at the expense of each sending district without prior approval from the board. If you would like details on the parking lot issue, please feel free to reach out to me. After an hour-and-a-half delay, the actual board meeting finally started. Per motion SB 2526-001, I was officially approved as an IU board member by a roll call vote. As we proceeded through the 14-page agenda, some of the main notable items were FS 2526-005 was tabled, which was to grant permission for Draw Collective to proceed with preparation of bid specifications and a competitive bid procurement process to install a new PA system in the Clearview School. That job is being completed due to receipt of a PCCD grant, but it was noted that the funds of the grant will not cover the entire cost of the project. The IU took out a revenue anticipation note, otherwise known as a RAN, in the amount of $5 million at an interest rate of 3.29% from First National Bank. This was done as a result of the impasse in the state budget. A comprehensive plan is on a 28-day review. There were 12 resignations, 2 of which for retirement purposes, and the approval of hiring 3 new special education teachers. 6 policies were updated and are out for first reading. At 10 p.m., the meeting finally concluded. I encourage everyone to pay attention to what goes on at the IU because everything they do directly affects all of us. Again, if anyone has any questions or would like more information, please reach out to me.
And Christy, would you like to tell everybody how much time you're given between the release of the agenda and the time that you actually appear at the meeting, considering it was 14 pages long?
I received it on Thursday evening at approximately 8 p.m. I made it through about 4 pages, reading all of the attachments and everything that went into it. I have requested that we receive it at least a week in advance so that we can look through the agenda. If you don't know anything about the IU, please reach out to me because I have a lot of information and a lot of people. I just don't think you understand what's going on at the IU and how it affects all of us.
Exactly. There's a lot to it. Thank you for your report. Cindy, are you taking the public relations for Josie?
Our rep from the high school hit
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we've already had our public relations from all the various speakers, which is perfect. Starting with our agendas, Director Crummell, the Building and Grounds Department, please.
Yes, for informational purposes, I wanted to read a list. I want to mention that Christy has been receiving a lot of feedback, emails, phone calls, text messages about things that needed to be addressed. And she brought them to my attention as the committee chair for Building and Grounds. And I was working directly with Ed Sutter, the principals of the various buildings, Dr. D. So I wanted to read, Eric as well. Sorry, Eric. So I wanted to read a list, which is very long, of all the things that they have completed to date. So this started in the summer, and They moved frozen food from the LVMS and RK Mellon several times to facilitate electrical shutdowns. They disconnected power to the baseball scoreboard. They painted curves at LVMS and RKM. They removed damaged goalposts at Weller Field and installed a new one. They trimmed trees and shrubs at RK Mellon, LVE, and LVMS. They cut brush around the retaining pond at RK Mellon. They dismantled and cleaned up 2 old sheds at Weller Field. They set base for new storage at a new storage container at Weller Field. They painted the storage container at Weller Field. They hand scraped and painted concession stand at Weller Field. They placed a bituminous patch around the bleacher pillars at Weller Field. They laid out and painted band practice fields at LVHS. They painted 2 parking lot slot numbers at LVHS. They moved 2 pallets of shredding from the basement of the administrative building to the maintenance building. They painted the restroom near the kindergarten wing at RK Mellon. They finished a painting project in the lobby at RK Mellon. They replaced supply hoses for the water guns at Weller Field. They painted a classroom at RK Mellon. They painted interior handrails at LVE. They cut low-hanging limbs around the football practice field. They took over mowing and trimming at Weller Complex when the contractor quit. They provided paint and sundries for the concession stand at Page Field. They cleaned up and dismantled abandoned equipment at Weller Field. They cleaned and painted the handrails at our LVMS. They installed roll paper racks at LVMS. They installed a new adaptive swing at RK Mellon. They replaced and repaired numerous faucets district-wide. They mowed and trimmed district-wide. They installed new mirrors in the restrooms at LVE and RKM. They cleaned and de-limed 6 steamers. They cleaned 15 freezer and cooler coils. That's not easy to say. Moved cash register and wiring at RK Mellon. Rearranged serving lines at RK Mellon. Serviced and repaired vent fans at Weller Field. Hung new TV and outlet in one office at LVMS. Cleaned and serviced the vent fans at RK Mellon, LVMS, LVE, and LVHS. They moved the book room and teacher's lounge at LVMS. Added an outlet on the scoreboard at Weller Field. Cleaned the dryer vents at multiple locations. Moved the clock in the LVHS gym to make room for a new scoreboard. And I think that's all Ed listed, but one other thing I will mention that I know happened was when they added the adaptive swing at RK Mellon, I had mentioned that the walkway to get there was not really conducive for the wheelchairs. So it's my understanding that they fixed that so that the staff and the aides for the special education classrooms can get there safely, even during the weather when it's snowy or whatever when they're going outside. And I wanted to note that I know there's things that are coming up. I know things weren't always getting addressed with building and grounds chairs from the past. So keep letting us know. But go through your principal first. Let them know that something needs to be done. Put in a work order. Those work orders will get reviewed through Mr. Sutter, and they go down the chain to make sure things are getting addressed. If you find something is not getting addressed, please notify the principal. And then if that still isn't working, please call me at any time. We really want to get everything taken care of, and I think they've demonstrated a big effort to get all of those things taken care of. So just wanted to share that with everyone. Are there any motions that need pulled for discussion? Hearing none, I make a motion for B1425, that approval be given for the baseball complex change orders as listed.
Second.
Having a motion and a second for B14, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Director Steffi for Finance, please.
Okay, are there any motions that need pulled for discussion? I'd like to make a motion to approve F8725 through F9225.
Second.
Having a motion and a second for the indicated items, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motions carry. Educational Programs Director, Mrs. Boyd.
For information, Tegan Peltz Palco, pre-student teacher at St. Vincent College, will observe Susan Pardee at Laurel Valley Elementary School during the fall semester of 2025. Evan Wavorva, I hope I said that right, pre-student teacher at St. Vincent College, will observe Ryan Podlucky at Ligonier Valley Middle School during the fall semester for 2025. Are there any motions that need pulled for discussion?
Director Boyd, I would like to ask that someone make a motion, since I'm not permitted, to table E35 so that we can clarify the letter that is being sent out to parents.
So moved.
Second.
I make a motion to approve E3625. Oh, sorry.
We have a motion to table. We need to vote that motion. We have a motion by Cindy, seconded by Gary, to table E3525.
Okay.
All those in favor of tabling E35, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion shall be tabled for review.
I make a motion to approve E3625.
Having a motion and a second for E36, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries with E35 tabled for discussion at a later date. The Personnel Committee shall be handled by Director Brown this evening.
Are there any motions that need pulled for discussion? Hearing none, I motion to approve P6125 through P6825.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motions carry. The Athletic Committee, Director Hutchinson, please.
Are there any motions that need pulled for discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion for A3525 through A3625.
Second.
All those in favor of the two motions, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motions carry. Supplemental contracts, Director Gamble, please.
Are there any motions that need pulled for discussion? Hearing none, I make a motion for S1925 through S2125.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Those motions carry. Director Knupp, do you have anything for the good of the order this evening?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Director Brown, do you have anything for policy legal this evening?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Second hearing of citizens, we have Helen Sittler asking about cyber charter funding.
You know this is my hobby horse. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I got an email this morning that just enraged me. So I really want your own rage tonight after I read some of this email to you and some action from you. A lot of talk about funding and money tonight. There are some answers here, but it takes some movement by school boards to get that money. This came from Ed Voters. I don't know if any of you get those emails from Ed Voters, but it's an organization that has been tracking cyber charter school funding for a long time. So I'm reading from that. I will give this to you when I'm finished, but I'm skipping around a little bit in it tonight, so I don't want you to lose where I am. So I'll give this to Eric when I'm finished. This is from the email. As the budget impasse drags on, some school districts are drawing money out of their fund balances, savings accounts to pay their bills, which is what I believe this district is doing. Other districts must borrow from banks or take out lines of credit, which will cause interest and fees to be paid back by those districts later. So this is the second paragraph, and I didn't know this, and this is what sent me over the edge. Charter and cyber charter schools, on the other hand, are not seeing any interruption in their funding. School districts are required to pay tuition to charter schools, whether or not the state budget has been passed. That's outrageous. You're not getting your money from the state, but the state demands that you still pay the cybers? That's craziness. It's craziness. You see why I'm angry. All right, it gets worse. It even gets worse. This comes from a June report from Research for Action. They note that one particular cyber, Commonwealth Charter Academy's fund balance was low, and referred to the recent Auditor General's report, which explained, and this is a quote from the Auditor General's report, Commonwealth Charter Academy transferred $354.3 million from its general fund to its capital project funds during the audit period, of which $196 million was spent to purchase and or renovate 21 buildings. This is a cyber school, and they're becoming real estate moguls because they have too much money in their reserve fund. That's our tax money. This is just so unacceptable. And then it gets worse again. State law limits the unassigned fund balance that school districts are allowed to hold. The PA House has passed bipartisan legislation. It was House Bill 1500 that would both place the same limit on cyber charter schools and return excess funding that cybers are hoarding to districts, where it could be invested in educating students. The Republican-controlled Senate has taken no action on this legislation. So you know what my ask is now. Joe Pittman and Kim Ward, presently or used to, both represent this school district. They're the key players in the Senate who are not letting that bill move forward. The handout I'm going to give you has their phone numbers on it. Please call them. The other person that I would like you to call is Leslie Rossi. She has said to me several times, the money should follow the student. This is one of the outcomes of that belief. When the money follows the student, the district doesn't have enough money to put food in the cafeteria, to hire the extra workers, to deal with the boiler at the VOTEC, to deal with the parking lot at the IU. This is all tangled up in the same ball, and it's all cyber charter deliciousness for the cybers. I'm done.
I'd like to respond to that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Helen, I actually got that same email this morning. And so I looked through our general fund bills, F8825, which we approved this evening. In that particular motion, we, the taxpayers of the Lincoln Valley School District, actually had $61,706.53.
Let me pause you there. That's the 24-25 reconciliation complete. I am not paying any 25-26 cyber bills because if we don't pay it, they withhold it from our subsidy. Well, we're not getting our subsidy right now, so they can't hold it from anything. So until, that was the 24-25 year. We got all of our money for 24-25 from the state. Those are 24-25 closeouts of the school year for the cyber bills.
But they were on our bills tonight, is that
But
correct?
that's for the 24-25 year. The 25.
But it doesn't matter, it's still our tax money.
I know, but we already got all of our state money for that, though, is what I'm trying to say. 25-26, I have not paid any cyber bills yet, because they would withhold it from our subsidy. Well, we're not getting our subsidy, so they can't withhold it from anybody. So I just want to clarify that. That is from last year,
Yeah, well,
the closeout. Okay.
Well, that's fine as a clarification, but nonetheless, that was the taxpayers' money
Yeah,
from the
that's
Lincoln
correct.
Valley School
It still
District
is, yeah.
on F8825 tonight.
That's correct, yeah.
And they still get their money.
From last year.
Yes.
From
Right.
last year's closeout. We got all of our state money for
Exactly.
24-25.
Yeah, well, it's our money.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
There's nothing in this email about a flat fee for cyber charters, which is something that Kim Ward said to me she was in favor of. I don't know what's happened to that in the budget, but that would be a good thing as well.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make one comment. Don't get me wrong, I agree, Helen, with you. Cyber charter legislation is ridiculously through the roof. But I think it is unfair for you to make the comment that this is what happens when the money follows the child. Because what our biggest problem in Ligonier Valley is not cyber charter. Now, that's a big part of it, but our problem in Ligonier Valley is the commissioner or the supervisors making all our profitable land nonprofit. And if we don't soon do something, a Watershed's buying it up, or Mellons are buying it up, or whatever, all these groups that are nonprofit is actually wiping our tax base out in our district. And that is probably the biggest offender of getting our school base. I mean, I know cyber charter's big, but nonprofit is huger.
It's a combined problem.
It is, but that's what I'm saying, but I don't think it's fair to make the statement, this is what happens when your tax dollars follow the student. I think that's an unfair
They're
statement.
tax dollars that aren't fully needed for cybers, but yet we see one engaging in real estate speculation, we see others taking out millions of dollars of advertising, we see others buying tickets for their kids and families to Philadelphia Phillies games. That's our tax money.
I
It's
understand
too
that,
much
but
money.
that comes from rotten legislation.
Yeah.
That comes from the fact that the legislators are not putting a cap on what
That's right.
cyber schools are allowed
That's
to
right.
charge.
But it's because the money's following the child
Well,
right
I
now.
disagree with you there.
Well, then we can both disagree.
Hang on, Helen, I have a comment about that. So I think it also comes down to our district. And Dr. D has done so much to put us on an upswing. All of those ideas were from him. We voted on them. He brought the ideas, so he gets all the kudos for that. We get the pleasure of saying, yes, we voted on that. But the problem is, how do we get these students back?
Yeah.
And that's what we really need to work on as a board, as a district, is let's get these kids back, let's get our scores up, let's make everything more attractive so that we can take a hold of that again and try to get back in line with our budget and everything else, because I see Eric having a slight heart attack up there.
Yeah,
And,
I know.
but I totally agree, there has to be some kind of change somewhere.
Yeah. And I think phone calls from school board members would have greater impact than phone calls from me. I'll make the phone calls, but, I'm the crazy old lady who's yelling about stuff. But you're the board members who are making decisions about what the taxes are going to be for next year.
Well, that was partly why some of us had suggested a slight tax increase, because we were trying to come up with the shortfall that we're having. And unfortunately, the way we were recording what money we do have didn't specify what was earmarked for different accounts. So while the perception was we have approximately $10 million, that's not true. We really don't have that much money in reserve. That's all set aside. And so I believe the plan is to make it reflect what it really belongs to. But that's an inaccurate perception that we're sitting on all this money, and we're really not. But that's the general, perception of that.
Commonwealth Charter Academy is sitting on lots.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. So
Thank you, Helen, and the information that you give to Eric, we'll have Eric review that. We'll also have the solicitor and Dr. D take a look and just try to validate, make sure everything in that article is accurate, and get a report back, hopefully from Eric, about what's going on with the budget and things like that. So once again, thanks, Governor Shapiro. Okay. Are there any comments from any of the school board directors?
I have one. Go figure. In the interest of fulfilling my responsibilities as a board member with integrity and transparency, I feel compelled to raise a serious concern. As Jen noted, over the past month, a lot of people have reached out to me. One thing that really concerns me is a double-digit percentage of district employees have reached out to me with serious concerns or issues within a district. What's even more troubling is that 100% of those employees all said or started their conversation with me with the same exact words: please don't use my name. That repeated request speaks volumes. It signals a deeper, more troubling issue. When every single person feels the need to protect their identity just to share their perspective, it reveals something far more serious than isolated issues It points to a culture of fear or distrust. As a board, we must take this seriously. We need to foster an environment where our staff feel safe, supported, and heard without fear of retaliation. If employees feel they have to remain anonymous to speak the truth, then we as the leadership body are not doing our job effectively. Next, integrity is non-negotiable with me, especially for those of us in leadership. To my fellow board members, I respect different opinions and perspectives. In fact, I welcome them. Healthy debate strengthens our decisions. But let me be clear, our work must be rooted in collaboration, mutual respect, and full transparency. If we are truly committed to serving students, teachers, staff, and the broader community, then we must function as a unified, trustworthy, and principled board. I want no ambiguity, on this point. If anyone believes that dishonesty, manipulation, or back-channeling tactics will benefit them, they are gravely mistaken. That approach will not succeed, not with me. I do my homework, I research, verify, and pursue facts relentlessly before making decisions. That is my obligation to the public, and one I will not compromise. Respectful dialogue is always welcome, but only when it's grounded in truth, transparency, and integrity. Anything less undermines the very work that you, or in my case, were appointed to do.
Thank you. Anyone else? So for our future dates and activities, on October the 13th, this will be at the administration building at 4 o'clock. We will have our committee of the whole meeting where we set the agenda. Then on October 20th, please remember that school board meeting will be held at Laurel Valley Elementary School. Board members, please arrive around 5:15 unless otherwise noted. The 6 o'clock committee of the whole meeting will then take place with any presentations and updates. Then we will follow immediately with our regular board meeting. So once again, October 20th will be out at Laurel Valley Elementary School.
And Dr. Kapusta, if you'd be kind enough to come on up at the end of the meeting after we adjourn, I want to introduce you to all the board members and our administrative team, please. Thank you.
I will now take any motions for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Okay, you got somebody on that one, Eric? Okay, all those in favor of adjournment, please indicate by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:10 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.